If we're going to talk about meals on a budget, I want to make sure that we talk about buying pork loin. If you don't know who I am, my name is Amy Cross, and I teach families all over the world how to save money on buying groceries in the Grocery Solution membership. Make sure you check out the details for that below. Today we're just going to talk about buying a pork loin, and this thing is massive, it seems like, and I paid $21 for this. So when I get a big pork loin like this, I will either put it straight in the freezer. As you can tell, it's like super frozen solid right now. But I will either put it straight in the freezer like this, or I will cut it down into portions and make it into smaller packages in the freezer. But did you know that you can cut one like this and make it into pork chops, whatever size that you like? So if you like thinner sliced pork chops or thicker sliced pork chops, you can just cut the pork loin and freeze it that way, or you can prepare it for dinner and use the rest of it later. The other thing I will do with this is I normally will cut about half of it for pork chops, and then the rest of it I will use for shredded pork. I will put shredded pork in the freezer in these glass Pyrex containers, but it also works in quart-sized Ziploc bags. And normally I will do it without any barbecue sauce on it when I cook it. I will put it in the freezer like this, and that way I can use this either for nachos and make it a Mexican flavor after I pull it out, or I can also put barbecue sauce on it and we can have it for pulled pork sandwiches. So it helps it make a little bit more versatile. But this $21 a piece of meat here, I can make into multiple meals as long as I think ahead about it a little bit. Just remember, if you're taking this out of the freezer, the recommendations used to be by the USDA that you had to cook an item before you put it back into the freezer. That's not the recommendation anymore. You don't have to cook it and then put it back in the freezer anymore, as long as it was thawed properly. So if you are taking meat out of the freezer and you have it defrosting in the refrigerator, then it is safe to repackage it or cut it into a different size and then put it back into the freezer. So sometimes people get confused when they're getting, especially pork products, from the grocery store and they seem like they're frozen already, that you can actually safely defrost it in the refrigerator and it can go back into the freezer. So that's like a new updated thing in the last year or two, different than what I've been doing all of these years of having to cook it before you put it back away. So just another cost-saving tip to think about how you're going to repurpose the meat that you're buying. If your family does eat pork, it is one of the cheaper cuts of meat, and you can make all sorts of different recipes with it. So this is just one video in a playlist on making meals within budget. So make sure that you like and subscribe and follow the playlist.